Hello everyone, this is Mentor Tuba. I'm going to discuss a PgMP scenario in this video. This is a tricky one. I would say an obvious one and a tricky one both, because it definitely tests your understanding of the program related processes. So let me read out the scenario quickly, and then we are going to discuss the option choices followed by the correct answer. The scenario says that your program team identifies several issues that force you to modify program benefits level and do not warrant to discuss with steering committee. The changes are minor. As a program manager, your next step is to A, prepare a change request, B, update the program management plan to carry out the change and identify risk out of change, C, inform the steering committee members by mail, and D, update the scope statement, WBS, other documents as necessary by the impact of the change. So this scenario is pretty simple. I mean, on the look of it, it's simple. So there is a program, you are a program manager, and because of certain problems and issues, you are expected to modify the program benefits level. So clearly this is a change, right? From your team, you are expected to make those changes. And the other important point is that those changes are minor in nature. So the steering committee approval is not needed, or in other words, those changes are within the threshold limit or within the authority level of program manager, right? So knowing this scenario, what is the next action step or next process related step you would take? If, of course, the change management process is going to be discussed in this scenario. So before I talk about the options, you should be knowing that how change management process works. It's important. It's pretty much exam important topic. The first step of any change in the program is to prepare a change request or issue a CR. Right? The second step is doing the impact analysis. And impact analysis could be very broad, could be narrow, depending on the level of change. So impact analysis may include benefits understanding and integration and scope, schedule, quality, resource, budget related aspects, the risk related aspects, the stakeholder related aspect, like how this change is going to impact the program and its associated components. The third step is to get an approval on the change, right? Which in this case is exempted. When I say get an approval from the change for the changes, like getting an approval from program governance board, which is exempted. The next step, the fourth step is once the approval is granted, you make the necessary changes in the documents like scope baseline, schedule baseline, budget baseline, quality documents, program management plan, risk register, and different other artifacts as well, right? Benefits related artifacts as well. And the next step after this is inform, communicate to the relevant stakeholder and the team member so that they are aware about that change. And the final step is that you update your change log, and after that you keep an eye on that change, managing that change, right? So this is the step-by-step process. Now, knowing this process, I told you a 7-step process. Again, A, issue the change request, B, impact analysis, C, approval, D, updating the different artifacts, E, communication of that change to the relevant stakeholder, F, uh, updating the change log, and G, managing the change and tracking the change, which is a throughout exercise depending on the nature of the change, right? Now let's check the option choices, right? That if you have the authority to deal with this change at your end as a program manager, what is the next step for you to do to deal with this change? A, prepare a change request. B, update the program management plan to carry out the change and identify the risk out of change. C, inform all the steering committee members. And D, update the scope statement and WBS, etc. Of course, it's A, because if you have got to know about certain changes which demands some program benefits level updates, the first thing is come up with a change request, right? Come up with a formal change request so that B and D could be done because the approval is already there, right? So your like the impact analysis is already done, which is step number B, like those changes are minor and you know that those are not going to be like impacting your team or your program drastically, and the approval is already there. So you need to come up with a change request and you need to expect your team to update the WBS and schedule and budget and resources and everything accordingly, and eventually the overall program management plan. So if I have to order it, I would say A, then D, then B, and then C. Communicating to the steering committee members by email or whichever communication channel as per the communication management plan is also needed. So just because of the reason that steering committee is not expected to approve a change doesn't warrant that you are not going to inform them about the change as well. Informing is your responsibility to steering committee, to sponsor, to team members, to component managers, to PM, or to whoever is the relevant stakeholder as per the needs and expectations of your different stakeholders in the program. So A is the right answer. When I posted this question on the poll, I saw that 45% of the people went with option A, and I saw like an equal distribution between option B and D, 24 and 26% respectively, which is like the another 50%. So I'm aware that why people of the opinion that B and D is also a best choice. B and D is like one of the steps, I know, but it's not the next step, because until and unless you don't have a proper change request formulated, you can't really guide your team about how to update the scope statement, how to update the WBS, how to update the risk register, how to update the quality documents. And until and unless D is not done the right way, the integration, the clubbing of different artifacts in the program management plan is not going to be done the right way, which is option B. So like I said, A, D, B, and C is the right order of execution of steps. I hope you like this explanation. If you have any queries for me, do let me know. I definitely would come back to you. I will be back very soon with a new PGMP scenario. Till then, take care. Goodbye.